Okay, welcome back. This is Mark Stump. This is October 2013, and I'd like to talk about aperture. Now, in the previous video, I said that your camera, let me hold the digital so I can use 21st century language. I said that your sensor would like a certain amount of light to reach it, at least some range of light between the darker values and the lighter values. And I asked you, how do you get the same amount of light onto your sensor when conditions vary from dim indoors to bright outdoors on a sunny day? And I said that we had a couple of answers. One of the answers was shutter speed. And I said shutter speed also, besides controlling the amount of light, it controlled how well you were freezing the action or not. And so aperture is another way that you can control the amount of light that gets to the shutter. I'm going to try to show you this. This is the same thing that your eye does, that the pupil of your eye does. When it's bright out, the pupil in your eye will allow less light in. And then when you walk indoors and it's less bright, the pupil will allow more light to get in. Now, I don't know if you'll be able to see this. I've got a small hole, larger hole. Small, large. From the back, small, large, small, large. So aperture is the second way that we can control how much light gets to the sensor. And another effect of aperture is to affect the depth of field. So for this video I focused here. And so this point is in focus, and other points there are the same distance should also be in focus, more or less. Now what about my hand here? Is my hand in focus? My hand's clearly, technically, if I focused on this point, my hand cannot be in focus here, but it can be pretty close. It can be close enough. I think I'm taking this video at f5, and I've calculated that everything within a couple feet of this should be in focus. So I hope I'm in focus. I hope my photo's in focus. And I can make that distance shallower or less so. And here are two examples. Here I have a picture of the boys that I took years ago. And I took this in Forsyth, Georgia at the Forsythia Festival. We happened to be in a restaurant. The boys are mostly in focus. Although this is at f1.8, the depth of field is very shallow. I think the front of Alexander's hair is in focus. His bangs might be in focus. If you look at the back of his head, the hair behind his ears, it's already out of focus. And you can't even tell what the background is here. I told you we're at a restaurant, but I can't make out any details because they're out of focus. Sometimes that's a pleasing effect. Sometimes it's often what you want with a portrait. The background details may have been ugly or distracting, and even if they're not, you might want your subject to stand out in this way. So that is shallow depth of field. That's f1.8, the large hole. This picture is actually a composite of 12 photos, but they were all taken at f11. Now here, this is Sneffels Peak, and I'm 5 miles north of Sneffels. And I want Sneffels to be in focus. I want the clouds to be in focus. I want this rock here, which is, I think, less than a mile from me. I want that to be in focus. It's a large rock surrounded by some large-ish pine trees. And these are aspens. And I want those aspens, some of the closest things to me in this photo, I want them to be in focus. That's a little cow right there. He's smaller than the tip of my finger, but I want that cow in focus. And in this 20 by 30 print, I can actually see, I can make out the cow. So here's what I'm saying. Shallow depth of field and a greater depth of field. And that was purposeful. This is This is the second video after get out of green mode, and this is one reason I want you to get out of green mode, because only you know whether you want this effect or this effect. Your camera doesn't know. So that's it, that's Aperture. It's one way to control the amount of light that gets to your sensor, and it's a way for you to control your depth of field. Thank you very much. Please come back.